Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We are just about ready to get heading into our week 2 of Module 4, and I wanted to just give us some quick updates on what we are looking at this week. Great job, everybody, on returning from spring break and diving straight into a double week in Module 4. So I really thank you for working so hard last week and getting your poetry and realistic fiction in 1 week. It is Sunday, so technically your week 1 of Module 4 isn't all due until tonight, so I encourage you just to get that in, and then tomorrow on Monday we'll be ready to dive into our week 2. So let's take a look at the fantasy week, and let's talk about what's due so that we have an understanding of what's going on. So we are in week 2 of Module 4, and our focus is on fantasy literature, which is very fun. Hopefully you have had the opportunity to read The Hunger Games. If you're not finished reading Hunger Games yet, that's fine, but do try to complete it soon so that you have plenty of time to get your literature study done, which is not due until next Sunday. So for this week, starting tomorrow on Monday, you will be focusing on fantasy. Of course, our fantasy reading organizer is due on Tuesday, and that will help you in completing the rest of the week. The one thing that's interesting about this week is that we don't have a reading commentary due. So that's one lovely thing about this week. You do have a literature study and part 2, which is the interview of the read aloud. So as always, Tuesday you will submit your fantasy reading organizer, and then for the rest of the week we'll just focus on these assignments. So taking a look, starting here at the Hunger Games, our second literature study will be due next Sunday. Now this is a very fun literature study because it gives you the opportunity to complete a book report ball that's based on Bloom's taxonomy. So the first thing that you need to do is open up the template, and the template is right here, and it just looks like a little circle type thing. You need to print off 12 of these separately. So in total you will have to print 12 of these pages because each one of these templates will be a specific side of your Bloom's taxonomy ball. You'll need to fill out each one based on the criteria. So first print out all 12 and then jump over, let's see, we'll get back over here, to the assignment. And you'll follow this Bloom's taxonomy ball Hunger Games assignment to create the entire ball. So the first thing you have to do is choose what section of the Hunger Games you're going to focus on. The Hunger Games is split into 3 sections within the book. So you will choose whether you want to choose section 1, 2, or 3. The book is much too long to focus on the entire thing. So just choose your favorite and you'll focus your attention on that part of the story. So the way you follow it is I'll start here with create and go all the way down to remember. So if it says you need 2 circles, that means you need 2 of those template pages. So for the create part of your ball, the first circle or template will be to rate the book. So you're going to rate the book on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest, and then explain why you would or would not recommend this book to a friend, and give evidence on reasons why. So you can cite sections of the book, but I just want to see this backed up with evidence. It should be about 5 sentences on this particular circle. The next one is on the second circle, you're going to explain why you think the author wrote the story. So this is just kind of thinking to yourself, why would she have written the story? What do you think the meaning was behind it? And this can just really be a free-form thought of overall why you think she would have done that. Evaluate is just one circle, so one template. And this is where you will predict what might have happened if the problem in the section of the story was not solved. Now, there's a chance that that problem in the section of the story wasn't solved, but just think to yourself what might have happened if it had not been solved or if there was not an attempt to be solved, and explain that in about 5 sentences. This can be written freehand, or if you prefer to type it out and then print it and paste it back onto your ball, that's fine. It just depends on how you want to do the writing section of the ball. I personally have terrible penmanship, so I would likely print it out and then paste it on, knowing myself. But if you have beautiful penmanship, then by all means, do it however you feel more comfortable. Analyze section is 4 circles, so 4 separate templates. The first template is, or circle, is draw a picture of a surprising part of the section in the story and describe it. So there needs to be an illustration as well as a discussion on why that was a surprising part in the story. The next circle is write the main events to summarize this section of the story. So you're going to drop down the main events in 3 circles, beginning, middle, and end. First circle will just be the beginning. So quick summary of the beginning part of section of your choice in 2 to 3 sentences. It can be more if you need. The next circle will be the middle. That should be the bulk of the summary of your section. So this should be 3 to 4, even 5 would be fine. That summarize what happened in the middle of your section. And then this last circle will be summarize the end of that section in about 2 to 3 sentences, using more, of course, if you need. Apply is going to be 2 circles. So the first one is draw a picture of one of the settings from the section of your story and describe it. So another illustration. You guys are excellent artists, so I'm sure you'll have a good time with that. If you really are feeling uncomfortable and you want to print out some images, that would be fine too. Just make sure that it's describing the setting of that particular story. And then have a brief description there as well. The second circle will be write 3 questions that you would ask the author or any specific character within the story. And that's kind of fun. If you could ask the author or any of the characters, Katniss or Peeta or whomever, then you can certainly choose character. What 3 questions would you ask them? No illustrations are needed on that. In the understand circle, you just need 1, and you are going to draw a picture of the main character and write a description of him or her. And include personality traits. So this needs to be an illustration as well as a written description. So include the personality. You can include how they look, but also their personality traits. And then finally, the remember section is 2 circles. First, it's very easy. You're going to write the title, author, and copyright date of the book. Simple. And then second circle, write 4 interesting facts about the author. So once you are completed with all of your 12 circles, I want you to take a picture of each individual circle and submit all 12 pictures of each side to Canvas. And then I want you to try to put the ball together. Now, I can't seem to pull up the big picture of this ball. I wish I could, but really what this should look like is almost like a globe. So if you were to, let me jump back to my template here. If you were to cut out, or when you're finished, I should say, with each of your 12, cut out your circle just like so. And once you've taken a picture, you will then fold down these little tabs. So these little half tabs here, you will fold them. And then once each of those tabs are folded, take a stapler and you'll just staple each side, each flap. So one of these stapled to, say there was another template here, stapled to another side. And slowly, as you staple all the sides together, since they're folded up, it will begin to form a ball shape. It should look like this, like a globe. So each of the little sides are folded and then stapled together. I don't recommend using glue because it won't hold and it will just drive you absolutely crazy. So use a stapler. Once you've put the whole entire ball together, I want you to take a picture, just like you can see in this tiny, tiny little thumbprint here, of your completed ball together. The reason I want you to do this is because it's such a cool artifact, if you will, to have for yourself. So when you go into the classroom, if you do decide to do this type of book report with your students, you will love having this visual. They really turn out beautiful. Then you will take a picture of that whole ball as well. So a total of 13 pictures, 12 of each of the circles. You can just take a picture before you staple it together, and then a picture of the completed ball. And that is literature study. So it's very fun. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed reading The Hunger Games. If you have any questions, please email me through Canvas on that. So that's due next Sunday, along with your interview of your Read Aloud project. So I hope that you're continuing to read with your students and enjoying, or your subjects, I should say, and enjoying the process. And so what is due is your interview. The interview is based on this article, and it just kind of gives you an overview of why you would go ahead and interview your subject. I don't know why it's not opening here, so I'll just jump back. The second article is opening just fine, and it's learning about readers through the Burke Reading Interview, and that is exactly what we're doing, is this Burke Reading Interview. So all of the questions are here. You're just going to just ask your reader, when you're reading and you come to something you don't know, what do you do? Do you ever do anything else? So it's just kind of finding out what your reader does when they run into any kind of a problem, how they teach themselves to go to the next level. The next one, who is a good reader that you know? Often they'll say their older sibling or somebody in their class, maybe their parent. And then these next questions are based on that. What makes that person a good reader? Do you think that person ever comes to something that they don't know? So just follow these questions and jot down your answers based on what the interviewee stated. If you have a very, very young child that is not capable of answering these questions, you can talk to their parent or their teacher and modify the interview as you see fit. And that is just fine. Then finally, when you submit this assignment, you will also want to describe who you interviewed and when you conducted the interview. That's 3 points. Do a script of the questions, and the questions are already here, but I want you to include your child's specific response. And then at the bottom, and this is something that is often missed, a reflection of what you learned implicitly and explicitly from conducting the interview. So this is kind of your review of the process. What did you learn about how your reader feels about reading, how they feel about themselves, how they look at other readers? So this reflection is a real big part of the interview. And once you've completed that, you will submit it to Canvas. You can see here there is a rubric, who was interviewed, when and where, a full script with questions and answers included, and a reflection of what you learned from conducting the interview. The script is here. You would just want to write their answers here. That is all that is due this week. Of course, continue on reading with your readers, doing your weekly hours as you committed to, and of course, jotting down your reflection of each hour, each experience in your journal template. And then as we go into Module 5, we will have another literature study due fairly quickly. So once you've completed reading Hunger Games, I recommend jumping into starting Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which is the third of the required books that you are to have in this class, because our our literature study number 3 is due. Let's just jump back over here to modules. In Module 5, yeah, it's jumping really quick, you guys. Our literature study for Boy in the Striped Pajamas is coming up here on April 7th. Now, this is a very, very fast read, so it will not take you long at all. It's a pretty easy read. So once you've completed Hunger Games, I want you to just dive straight into starting reading Boy in the Striped Pajamas, so you will be prepared in week 1 of Module 5 to submit on April 7th, Boy in the Striped Pajamas. We are coming down to the end of our course, guys. So I know things are starting to come in fairly quick and come very fast, but I promise you it's all good stuff and it's all fun. If you have any questions about the rest of Module 4 or looking ahead to Module 5, please let me know. I will post Welcome to Module 5 next week. And so for now, just going to be thinking ahead to Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Have an awesome rest of your Sunday, everybody, and I will see you next week in my Module 5 announcement. Have a great day. Bye.